But Marco, you're in, did you say the fifth generation?
Yep.
That's amazing. So there's grappa in your blood then very much.
Exactly.
Why is this
Exactly.
area? Because I know we're not too far from Bassano del Grappa.
Yeah.
Why is this arc underneath the Dolomiti, this area, why is it so specialized in the production of this unique drink? Fascinating people with stories to share, fabulous wines and the best local foods to accompany them, and beautiful places to discover and visit. All of this and more on Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast. Join me for a new episode every Tuesday. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today we travel to Veneto, to Vicenza, to meet my guest Marco Schiavo of the Distilleria Schiavo. Buongiorno, Marco. Thank you so much for being my guest today. How are you?
Buongiorno, Mark. Very fine, thanks. And you?
I'm really well here. It's a beautiful day here in southwest England. It's going to be a nice weekend too.
Yeah.
Is the weather good with you?
Yeah, absolute. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Now, Marco, I know this is a really busy time for you. I know it's a special time of year. It's a special time of year for wine producers, but also for grappa producers. Now, just describe this moment of year. Describe autumn in Vicenza. Describe where you are. Take us to your life because our listeners are all around the world, and we'd like to get an impression of where you actually are.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm in my office. Today is a beautiful sunny day here in Vicenza. You know, Vicenza is a very famous small city in the northeast part of Italy, in Veneto region, between Verona and Venezia, and is very famous because it's the city of Palladio architect that have rediscovered the idea of the villa in about the Roman Empire. So I'm actually a fifth generation of distillers. We have a family-run distillery since 1887. We actually use a very old a copper distillery. We have a copper distillery, and we use a discontinuous system to make our grappa.
First of all, Vicenza. I really want our listeners to understand because Vicenza isn't somewhere that everybody goes to. You know, there are a lot of places, beautiful places in Italy to visit, but I love Vicenza. I love walking down that broad corso with the beautiful Palladio villas all
Yep.
along these beautiful stone villas that are monumental and classically proportioned. So it's a really beautiful
Yep.
small city, and of course there's that beautiful theater as well, the Palladio Theater.
Yeah, absolutely. The first cover theater of the world.
Is that right? Amazing,
Yep.
amazing. So Vicenza certainly somewhere our listeners should go. But Marco, you're in. Did you say the fifth generation?
Yep.
That's amazing. So there's grappa in your blood then very much.
Exactly.
Why is this
Exactly.
area? Because I know we're not too far from Bassano del Grappa.
Yep.
Why is this arc underneath the Dolomiti, this area? Why is it so specialized in the production of this unique drink that we really associate grappa as something very Italian?
Yep. Yeah. Allora, in Vicenza and also in the heart part of Veneto region, we have the biggest concentration of grappa distillery of Veneto region. Why? Because Vicenza is very poor on wine production because the fields of Vicenza area is not like the Verona or Treviso area where they are very big wine producers. This is why in Vicenza we have a lot of distillery because we also take the pomaces or what remain after the fermentation of the wine from different provinces.
Okay.
This is why in Vicenza we have the biggest concentration of distillery.
Oh, that's fascinating. Now, Marco, I really want our listeners to understand what grappa is, what vinace are,
Yeah,
what a special ethereal transformation of grapes
yeah.
into grappa.
Yeah. So grappa is a typical Italian spirit that is made by distillation of what remain after the fermentation of the wine. We call vinace in Italian. In English is pomaces or pressed grapes. What we can do, we usually take the fresh pressed grapes from vineyards and from winemakers. In about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, we take this first material to our distillery and we distill immediately.
So that's very important, Marco. You need to have fresh
Yeah,
vinace
yeah, exactly,
straight out of the press. So we're talking about a huge volume. I'm imagining around your distillery right now, you have mountains of vinace. Is that right? I mean, they're
exactly.
coming from different producers that you've worked with over over the generations, maybe.
Yep, yep, yep. We know a lot of small or big wine producers, and we choose different kind of grapes. For example, Cabernet, Merlot, Garganega, Moscato grapes from different areas of Veneto region, and because every area have a specially kind of grapes that grow very well than other province. Otherwise, it's very important for us to take this kind of pressed grapes very early from the wine producers to the distillery. Because if you distill a fresh pressed grapes, that contain a part of wine, you can give the flavor to the grappa for making a really good grappa. So it's not simple.
You using the that fresh small batch of vinace from the producers, you're getting within
Exactly.
2 hours.
Yeah,
You're keeping the aromas, the flavors, and this is something that's very different from the industrially produced grappa.
exactly. Because they also use a very big quantity of pressed grapes. They stock on the fields. They stock on the earth, and they leave and they distill this kind of pomaces after 15, after 1 month. But we understand that it's completely different because it's a very fresh material. Imagine that after 2 days the fermentation are going on, and you have a transformation of the sugar in vinegar. If you distill bad or vinegar pomaces, you have a bad grappa. You have to redistill again for for twice time, 3 times, 4 times, for having a mass grappas that the people buy in the supermarket, and but it's completely different by an artisanal product.
Okay, so
Completely
you're a
different.
small artisan distillery
Yep,
doing
yep,
small batch distillations. Take us through
yep.
that process.
So the process is very simple because we take these pomaces from the cellars, we transport in distillery, we charge our copper cauldron with these fresh pomaces. When we close the copper cauldron, we open the water vapor, and the water vapor cook the pressed grapes.
So the steam is coming through.
Exactly, exactly. The steam pass inside the copper cauldron and extract the alcoholic part that is inside the pomaces. Why we have the alcohol inside the pomaces? Because obviously the red wine and also pomaces have had the fermentation inside the must of the wine. This is why we have the extraction of the alcohol from
Okay, so
pomaces.
it's in a sense, Marco, you're taking a waste product. You're taking something that the wine producers are finished with that would maybe have been thrown away, and you're
Exactly.
using that to extract that remaining ferment that can then be vaporized and collected to make something very special. But Marco, it must take a huge volume of solid vinace to make a tiny quantity of grappa.
Exactly. Imagine that in this kind of antique system, from 1,000 kilos of vinaccia or pomaces, you must have 35, 38 liters of grappa. It's a
Oh my
very
goodness, that's
small,
a
small
tiny,
quantity.
and that's a
Yeah,
huge amount of volume to be putting in and then taking out from these small
exactly.
copper alambics, these small copper stills.
It's 3.5, 3.6%
Goodness me,
from the
that's
weight of
incredible.
the
Yeah,
pomaces.
yeah.
It's
Now, with the
incredible.
white grapes that are pressed and not yet fermented, how do you do that? Does the fermentation just happen? They will have less alcohol than say the vinace coming from
Exactly.
the red grapes.
Yeah, allora, with the modern system to making wine with white pomaces, it's not possible to distill and having grappa. This is why with some our friends we prefer to have after a fermentation in the cellars of our friends
Hmm.
with the last part of pressing. Of pressing liquid, and then we transport the white grapes to the distillery.
Okay, so slightly
Yep,
different process then.
exactly, exactly. And then you must distill these white grapes. But the quality of the grappa is completely different because if you distill a red wine, flavors and the taste is much more superior
Oh, that's
than a white
interesting. That's
grapes.
interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
you've got that alambic loaded up with the vinace. The al vapore, the steam passes through. The alcohol is vaporized, and then it condenses. Is that correct?
Exactly. Then you pass inside a column. In that column, you have the separation from the water part from the alcoholic part, and then you have the condensation in two different cooling coils. The first is in hot water. The second is in cold water, and then you must have the liquid of the grappa. Then you have a control point where you have to look like alcoholic percentage, the temperature, the flavor, because it's not possible to taste the grappa during the distillation because all the system is closed by Italian Finanza government because it's a
Of
monopoly.
course.
Producing spirits, yep, in Italy also around the world is a monopoly of the financial
Okay,
government.
so you're then judging what parts to keep because you don't use the top and the bottom bit of the distillation, do you?
Yep. Allora, during the distillation, we can define three different part of the distillation. The head part is the first part that arriving during the distillation. You can recognize from, for example, from the percentage of the alcohol inside. From 90% alcohol till 78 is the head part. You have to take off absolutely because it's very rich in methanol, and this is toxic for the human consumption. From 78 alcohol till 55 alcohol is the best part of the distillation, the hard part. And this is the part that in the future begin grappa. From the last part we call the tail part. It's about from 55 till 30% of alcohol, and we keep in a special part of the distillery because we will redistill again this tail part. Why? Because after 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, this is the time for one distillation. From the seeds of the grapes, you have the extraction of the essential oil of the grapes. That is very important to give the taste to the grappa. Is very, very, very
Okay,
important.
you've given us
It is like imagine. Yeah, imagine is like when you cook a fish. No, you have a very big and wonderful fish. You can polish, you can extract the fillet and put apart, and then you take the head and the bones, and you can create the broth. With this broth, you can extract the essential oil inside the bones, the fumée that French called, and then use the broth for cooking the rest of the fish, giving much more taste to the plate that you are cooking.
Okay,
Is the
that's
same
a very
thing.
good analogy because this is quite a we're hearing
Yeah,
the technical aspects of grappa production, but I also want our listeners to have an image of the magic of grappa, of these small, beautiful, old stills that you have, these copper stills, and the smell. The smell must be incredible, Marco. What's the
yeah,
smell like when you're
yeah.
working?
It's like, yeah, it's wonderful. Imagine that we have a lot of people that are coming during when we have the distillation season. It's from for your idea from the end of August till the end of October. In 2 months, we concentrate all the production of the grappa because we are working night and
With
day.
those fresh finacce.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we have a lot of people that are coming only for snuff the flavor that is possible to breathe in the
Right.
distillery. It's like wine, but it's not wine. It's like when you cook wine, you know, it's a very rich flavor with this vapor, and all people are coming because it's like an alchemy, you know, and
Yes.
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's wonderful, you know. It's like when you go to in a winery and they are making wine. You have the fermentation, all the flavor change day by day, and also here it changed completely from Pinot Noir till Cabernet till Merlot. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's a wonderful time. Yeah,
Okay. And I guess now, Marco, you're just about to breathe a big sigh of relief and put your feet up because you've gone through this season's busy period of distilling every
yeah,
day, every
yeah,
day.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
finished now, or have you still got some more vinacce to come?
We are waiting the last part of the distillation because we are waiting the Valpolicella
Okay,
grapes.
the Corvina, Corvinone.
Yeah, Corvina Molinara Rondinella. Maybe the next week we will finish all the distillation campaign 2024.
Will you, at some point later in the year, possibly distill the Vinacce from Amarone?
Yeah, we now we close the distillery with the next week, and we open again the distillery in February March to distill the Amarone
Okay, the
grapes.
grapes,
Yeah,
the wine made from the Passito
yeah.
grapes, the dried grapes. That must be
Exactly,
an
exactly,
extraordinary
exactly.
grappa.
We distill small producers and famous producers like Quintarelli or other big
Okay,
companies.
okay.
Yep.
So, what I want our listeners to understand is that you're working in very small batch quantities of making a very special artisan grappa. And I know you
Yeah.
make a big range. I've looked at your range, but just give us maybe just a couple of examples that are really typical of the Schiavo range from the classic and the artistic lines, just to give us an idea of the variety of grappa.
So actually produce some different kind of grappa because we prefer to distill singular kind of grappas, and then we can mix together to create some different cuvee. For example, if you want to create a dry grappa or sweet grappa, you can mix together different kind of grappas. For example, for making a dry grappa, maybe you can use Cabernet and Merlot if you want, or Pinot Noir. If you want to create a sweet grappa, maybe you can use a Moscato grapes or some different kind of late harvest grapes. And but we distill actually only traditional grapes from here, Cabernet, Merlot. But imagine Cabernet Merlot from Vicenza is completely different from Verona area, from Treviso area, from Padova area. That it's amazing how when arriving the pressed grapes, you can smell different kind of flavor from the same grapes. And but the magician is to mix together to create a cuvee, because we have
Okay.
understand that if you mix together different kind of grapes, you can create the best grappa that is possible to drink.
Okay,
It's
that's
like
very, very interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a perfumer, when you create a perfume, is the same.
Okay. So you're really crafting those together, and that's part of the expertise that you have. Now, Marco, did you learn this art because it is an art? You're talking about these, really personal blending to make this cuvee, but also the art of distillation. Is this something you just, when you were a child, you were in the distillery, you saw your father doing it, you saw your grandfather doing, you just
Yeah, yeah.
always,
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. It's like yeah, is the same for you in England, no? When you go to
yeah.
Scotland, you have this kind of small distillery where all the family work inside. From your grandfather, your uncles, or the cousins, and you grow inside the distillery, and you grow snuffing a different kind of flavor to understand which is the best, which is the baddest, and this is art that is possible
Okay.
to understand only if you live inside, because it's not possible to learn in a university or in other
You almost
schools.
have
Yeah,
to be born into it then.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Marco, I'd like our listeners to understand the importance of grappa and the culture of grappa. Grappa is a very Italian digestive. I think we usually think of it, but there's a real culture behind grappa, and particularly, I
Yeah,
think in Veneto, also Friuli, Trentino, Alto Adige, in this northern area of, of
yeah.
of Italy. It's so important.
Yeah, yeah, because grappa was it's a spirit that was created with what remain after the wine production. Because imagine 100 years ago, when you have a lot of poor people that doesn't have anything to eat, and they have to do a lot of work on the fields, because they don't have anything to eat, and they use the grappa for helping to the force on the fields. This is why it's very famous in the north part of Italy.
And Marco, what about who is drinking grappa now? Because your grappas are very special grappas. They're grappa pregiata,
So,
artisan made. Who is drinking your grappa? Who are your customers in Italy?
yeah, absolutely. The first market is obviously Italy, because Italian people usually want to ending the lunch or the dinner with a grappa glasses. So grappa is a beautiful conclusion of a very good meal here, after maybe a bottle of good wine and good stuff on your table, and then you can close the expression of the Italian menu with a glass of grappa. You can find our grappa in from trattorias till stars Michelin tables, but it's a grappa that have to explain to the people. This is why this kind of product are only for limited
Okay,
restaurants.
intenditori. Yeah.
It's like a good wine. You have to found a very good method that explain the producers, and the kind of grapes that you have used for the wine. This is the same
Okay,
things.
and what about then passing on the culture of grappa to a younger generation?
Tomorrow we have 2 days of open distillery for visiting our factory, and we have a lot of young generation that are coming to looking how to do grappa, because they heard the art of grappa from parents, but they never have see how is a distillation, how is a distillery. But we have a lot of young generation that are coming, because also we are trying to mix in cocktail the grappa.
Oh, that's very interesting. Tell us one or
Yeah.
two cocktails that work very well with your grappa.
Yeah, maybe with coffee and also with lemon, like for example, sour, like whiskey sour, grappa sour. It's possible to do a lot of drinks with grappa, because it's very you can find a lot of kind of the grappas, from the fruity till the driest, that is possible to mix with a lot of fruit syrup, or with a different kind of coffees and other spirits. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one way a younger generation can
Yeah.
really begin to enjoy and appreciate and understand grappa is through
Yeah.
cocktails.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's very important, because we have to try to give another way to consume this kind of spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the food of Vicenza, but as you say, grappa has been primarily a digestivo. Is there a
Yep.
way that one can enjoy grappa with food?
Yeah. So usually we use grappa to marinate some different kind of meat, for example,
Okay.
and then you cook the meat. You can poof the grappa on a risotto, for example,
Hmm.
pumpkin risotto, or mushroom risotto, or parmesan risotto. And also you can add to a risotto when you cook, for example, like the vodka used for pasta, or
Yeah.
for other kind of chicken, for example. And also we use also a lot to pairing with cheese.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. With
Interesting. What cheeses pair well with grappa?
fresh cheese like ricotta, sheep ricotta, or different gorgonzola, also
Wow,
gorgonzola.
that's fascinating. That's
Yeah.
really, really interesting. Now, Marco, you mentioned that you've got visitors coming over the
Yeah.
weekend, young people coming
Yeah.
to see the process. Tell us
Yeah.
about hospitality at your
We
distilleria.
usually organize a lot of visits. For example, in these 2 days, we have we take all the groups of the people that are coming. We go to the distillery. We explain the process to the grappa. Then we can move to our small museum, where we have a lot of interesting documents from territory, our family, the foundation of our distillery. And we have 9, 10 old books that explain the return of the distillation from Roman till our era. We also organize some tasting session with, obviously, in pairing with special food like sweets. Now we are going to Christmas season. Here we have a lot of panettone or pandoro cakes, that is very good to pair with some different kind of grappa. We pair with chocolate. We pair also with some different kind of food. But tomorrow, no, on Sunday we have the pairing with a particular kind of risotto with mushrooms.
Oh, my.
We have a chef that are cooking here a particular a new, obviously a new recipe where he mixed together our grappa with the parmesan risotto with the mushrooms.
A porcini or another mushroom?
No, it's not. We call barboni. Barboni is
Okay.
a particular kind of mushroom that grow on the trees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Fascinating. That sounds a wonderful
yeah,
experience for the visitors. Now I know that
yeah.
you've explained this so well and in an exciting way that our listeners may want to visit. Can they contact you and arrange to visit?
Absolutely, yes. They can drop me a line on our email, and we can arrange a date and hours for visiting our distillery. It will be a pleasure.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Well, I'd certainly look forward to visiting you someday soon, Marco.
Thank you very much.
It's been a real pleasure meeting you. You've really described the process of transforming something that otherwise would be a waste product, these mountains of grape pressings, of grape pomace, of vinache that
Yep.
come to you wine drenched and fresh and fragrant, and which you then transform through the art of distillation into these wonderful spirits, these strong, powerful grappa that really are something of a symbol of Italy and of the Veneto. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you. Thank you also for you and the Italian One podcast. Grazie.
Grazie, a presto.
We hope today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on the Italian Wine Podcast has transported you to somewhere special. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at italianwinepodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.